Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me Vin D'Eletto. Now, Vin is the founder of Wordagents, a premium content creation agency headquartered in Comac, New York. He started his journey as an affiliate marketer and still owns a portfolio of niche sites that he continues to work on to this day. However, his greatest enjoyment comes from helping clients uncover hidden SEO opportunities and directing his team of writers to produce impactful content that increases both traffic, sales, and revenue. When not working on marketing campaigns for clients, Vin enjoys playing guitar, drinking scotch, and hanging out with his German short-haired pointer. Vin, thank you so much for being on the show. Pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure, Matt. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey, no problem. Hey, so Vin, how would your high school teachers describe you as a student?
Checked out.
I
was there, but I was somewhere else in my head. That's probably a good description.
Yeah, me too. Did you have a favorite subject in high school?
Back in high school, I think English and history are my favorites, but today they probably should have been math. I'm a math guy at my core. I just wasn't into it back then.
Oh, right on. Would you have done anything differently if you could go back?
Focused more and just stuck with the fundamentals. I'm a guy that always tries to rush ahead, and I think that was half the problem in school. A little bit too bored. So once you get off track, then everything gets messed up. So I would have liked to focus more and really just taken my time at the pace that they were taking us through schooling.
Yeah, me as well. I wish I'd focused more. But do you think any of your former teachers would be interested in becoming a digital marketing consultant if you look back?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No?
Most of my teachers weren't the young, forward-looking types. They were all at the end of their careers.
Oh, okay. I see. So what inspired you to, pursue a career in digital marketing? How did you get started? I know you had some affiliate. You started off in affiliate marketing. Maybe tell me a little bit about that.
It was completely by accident. I had a good friend that was making bank with PPC arbitrage. He was doing that between 2005 and 10. And he was making, and him and his buddies were making millions driving traffic to those old ringtone offers that you would have on MySpace and Facebook. And I wanted to get into that, but to do that as a solopreneur, to buy data, you're spending 20 to 30 grand dialing in a new campaign. And as a newbie, I was still a young guy at that time. I didn't have that budget. But I found the marketing forums, which really opened up the world to me. All the affiliate marketing forums, specifically wickedfire.com.
Wickedfire?
Wickedfire.com. That was my stomping grounds back in the day.
Is that still around?
Was like, it's not around anymore. It was really kind of like it was like the solopreneurs hangout for learning PPC and SEO, whatever forum was around at that time back in 2010. But I learned about SEO. I learned about SEO arbitrage and affiliate marketing, just generating organic traffic, sending it to a magazine, topical, relevant site, and making money off of affiliate offers. So I wanted to do that. I was trying to do that, and I ended up freelance writing to fund that effort.
Neat.
And just organically, I realized that all of these guys that are into SEO, they need a massive amount of content. So I kind of grew both tracks at the same time. I was building out a portfolio of
that is so smart
affiliate sites, which I did really well with. I had a really big exit in 2016. And then content writing just grew organically since 2010. I believe we incorporated Wordagents in 2014. And it's really just grown. It's grown for over a decade, slow and steady.
Wow, that's awesome. So was it the content, like your journey for starting Wordagents? Was the need for content that you identified that all those SEO people were needing that content? What made you come up with the name?
Wordagents? Oh man, I was in a Slack. I was in a Slack group with a bunch of buddies from those forums, and it was kind of like our core friend group, and we would always share tactics and things. And to be honest, I came up with like a list of names. Wordagents was on the list, and as a group, we kind of whittled down what was which brand name really intuitively described what the brand was about as clearly as possible. And Wordagents was the by and far the most popular selection out of the list of 10 or 15 ideas that I came up with. And it's we're a bunch of agents that sell words. And
absolutely.
I think you can't get more clear than that.
Yeah, it's a great brand name. Did you make sure that you had that? Because my fear would be if I share this name with them, they're going to snag it up on me and take it.
Oh man, I'm actually going through the trademarking process still. But that day when I got the .com, I bought as many TLDs as possible. And I still re-reg them every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you need to protect your brand. That's for sure. And I mean, getting a trademark is I mean, I don't know if Coke owns Coke.net and Coke.io and Coke.co and Coke.co.uk, but yeah, you need to protect your brand. That's for sure. What are your top tips for building and managing a large remote team of contractors?
It's a grind. Be ready for the grind of your life. It really just comes down to fundamental systems, making sure that you cross your T's and you dot your I's with business fundamentals. That's, defined roles, responsibilities for all members of the team, standard job descriptions, workflows for every job description, standard operating procedures. And then, expanding to like KPIs for every role. So you really got to know the pieces, which are the roles in your system. And once you have that defined, right, you can start filling it in with actual people to fill those roles. And then you're just kind of fixing problems as they pop up, and tweaking your processes and systems from there.
Did you develop those? So for instance, this is what, what's his name talks about. Michael Gerber talks in his book. I talk about this all the time in his book, the E-Myth Revisited. I'm not sure if you've familiar.
Yeah, I've read that one a good number of times. It's great.
Yeah. So did you base your business based on that? And what you just said sounds exactly like what he talks about to do. And what I mean by that, did you define the roles ahead of time and what those roles and responsibilities and SOPs and KPIs were going to be? Or did you grow them as you grew the business?
I kind of suffer from an illness that is reinventing the wheel when it doesn't need to be reinvented. So I would say for the first 5 years of the business, it was more of a lifestyle business rather than the productized service it is today. And I was just very organically coming up with the ideas of roles and workflows and operating procedures just based out of my own, deep thinking. And then later on, I got into reading business books and realized that there's frameworks for these things, and I don't have to drive myself so crazy trying to develop them from scratch. And, I use the frameworks to fill in the blanks, as far as my knowledge gaps went. But yeah, from the get-go, we had the writers, we had our team leaders, we had our editors, and our marketing people. So even if they weren't as defined as they were today, in my head, I kind of had those divisions in place.
Okay. So what would you say is the main difference between you having the lifestyle business and then turning it into a more systemized prioritized business?
The main thing is how much free cash I have in my pocket. And that sounds like a bad thing at first, but it's really not, because you're trading that for equity. In a lifestyle business, you don't have as much overhead, you don't have as much staff, systems and things like that. So you can enjoy a much bigger profit distribution every quarter. But when you want to scale, you want to get up into enterprise level, you have to, all that money obviously is cash flow for all the different things that a business needs to stay alive. So you give up that cash flow personally, and but you trade it for ultimate equity in the business. So you get it back when you exit down the line, knock on wood.
I totally understand what you're saying then. So instead of taking those profits out and enjoying the quote unquote lifestyle business with, more money in your pocket, and you instead reinvest the money back into the business in that regard.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to scale a business, whether it's an agency or whether it's a chocolate manufacturer. And I'm speaking from experience, and I'm sure there's other people out there. Like, even in your case, you're doing content creation, and it's like, how do you figure out what your cost per action is in order to be able? I think it might be easier when you productize things, because, for instance, versus agencies that do a what's it called, a retainer contract, and they do SEO, and they have a bunch of things that they're going to do for SEO, and then needing to figure out how long those things take in order to figure out what their cost per action is, and then figuring out, okay, what are my costs? What's my overhead costs? What's my employee costs? What's all the, and reduce it. Like, you almost need to do that and learn about how all that works before you can transition from becoming like a practitioner, like a content writer or let's say you're a Google Ads practitioner and you want to start a Google Ads agency. I mean, it's not so simple as just going out there and getting a bunch of damn clients. It's really freaking hard.
When I was in the lifestyle mode, the data tracking just wasn't there, as much as it is today. But I was going the route of taking, monthly retainers, and really clients were just working through that for different article orders that they had for us. Yeah. And that was working well. But the productized model is so much better for scaling, just because it's more of like, here's what we do, take it or leave it. And, through client feedback, they tell us, well, I wish I would have this feature in this package. Well, that's how we iterate, but much, much more slowly, and not trying to be everything for everyone. But pulling it back, as a productized, because we have these defined packages, we're able to build admin dashboards, KPI dashboards, and really get granular with our data, and let the data direct us as far as where we should be going as a business.
Yeah. Do you think that agencies everyone should try to, in one sense or another, even if they're not advertising as such, but should put their services into products?
I think it depends on who you're serving. I think at the enterprise level, the traditional agency is probably still the better option because of the types of demands that enterprise has. But if you're serving a solopreneur or a small business type market, I think productized is way much better, just because the size, way much better. Wow. Yeah. The size of that lower level market is actually much larger. So in order to run your company and scale, you do need to productize to just serve the broader market. And to be honest, at that level, not everybody is as sophisticated as they need to be to make requests, customer requests. A lot of times they just want that productized offering because it takes the thinking off of their laps.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. For me, I would rather, looking back now, and rather than starting a retainer-based agency, I'm more interested in the end result of what the client wants from a marketing perspective, in the sense that leads. So I find the pay-per lead model to be very attractive. I know it's not.
See, for me, we wanted to stay away from anything performance-based. So that's why I didn't expand out to like a true agency by adding links and strategy and things like this. With content, it's kind of a defensive industry where, people are always going to need written words, and the AI conversation is happening, but I think there's always going to be human element to written word. And whether or not, content writing stays a big part of the marketing mix, people are always going to need writers for one reason or another. And that was a big reason why I went into content specifically, rather than doing a full service agency or even bringing in link building or PR into the mix.
Yeah, content. That's very smart, because content, you obviously saw the curve before, you saw the need before the.
I'll give myself a pat on the back for that, because I definitely saw the need. I'd say 2 or 3 years before it really hit. But unfortunately, I didn't have the business management skills to really take advantage of that lead. But I backfilled.
What advice would you give to yourself then that you know now?
Find frameworks. Frameworks exist, as a small business owner, in every department, finance, management, marketing. There's already frameworks that exist. We use a variation of EOS, and Gerber. Gerber's books are great, and another one, Vern Harnish, I believe, Scaling Up, and the Rockefeller Method. All these management frameworks have made a night and day difference in how we operate, and quite frankly, that the bottom line is improved because of it.
So what you're saying is you wish you'd learned a little bit more business skills and business framework and followed some proven business frameworks earlier.
Instead of just looking at the next problem in front of me to fix, which is really what a lot of new business owners do. They're, what's next, regardless of like what should be next. You take this framework and you just fill in the framework, and all those problems kind of resolve themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you always liked writing content? Like, was it just like you said you were using the content to fund your affiliate business, which is very interesting because Grant Cardone was talking about that. He always used other people's money to fund his ventures. If I had taken that approach, I think I'd be in a much different place today. But has writing content always, like, was it something? This is what I'm trying to ask. Was it something you did because you had to do it, or was it something you did because you liked doing it?
I wouldn't say that I was born as a child and I immediately had a passion to be a content writer. But I've been good at it. I was always good at English. I have always been able to engage with who I perceive the reader to be. I was on my community college newspaper, and was always on the front page there and things like that. But would I like to, write review articles and information articles about topics I don't really have any connection with? Probably not my forte. I'm much more really into the business ownership, entrepreneurial type lifestyle now.
So you saw the demand for the market and created some content yourself, and then you realized, whoa, there's something here. I'm really good at actually being the person who can find the crowd that's thirsty, and connecting them with the crowd that has the water, and I can make money as being the guy that connects them both. That's
hits the nail on the head. I really like to unravel business knots. I think is a good way to put it. But yeah, between 2014 and 18 was really that period of me figuring all that out.
Yeah.
And then around 2019, I brought a partner on, Tommy Joyner. He's a career marketer. And me and him, we decided to pivot a little bit, go the productized service route.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. It was really a good choice for us. And we've really seen our hockey stick growth ever since then.
How do you go about, how did you go about getting clients? Like, I know you said you saw all these people that were, but how have you built the brand? Like, it's one thing to, go ahead.
Back then it was just forums and Facebook groups, and they just fell into my lap. People would just say, "Hey, does anybody know a writer?" I would say, "Here I am." And then it was more or less all those guys recommending me and my small service at the time. These days, we very much have a proper marketing funnel with front end offers, back end offers, email segmentations. We're getting, it's advanced, and it's getting more advanced.
Cool.
So we're at the point in our business where marketing has become product development. We need to develop more ancillary services around content writing in order to scale to where we want to scale.
Yeah. Because it's very interesting because you went from being the person that people were requesting to now requesting the brand. So was there a way that you had to pivot that people's thinking to go from, because usually it was difficult because writer. Yeah. Tell me about that challenge and how you solved it.
Well, people always knew me as an agency. They knew I had a team, even though the brand wasn't there yet. But it was difficult for both sides to go from, people being able to email me or text me at a moment's notice. Again, it's like to get traction in the industry, I would be available 24/7 to my clients.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of them were around the world too. And, to make the pivot to the productized service, I kind of had to no longer interface with clients as much. We brought on our customer success manager, Merrick, and just like kind of training the legacy client base that this is the new way of doing things at Wordagents. We did lose some clients because they weren't on board with that model, and that was tough. But ultimately, turning over the client base to one that understood that the new model was the right way to go.
Yeah. So you had to maybe like lose a little to gain even more.
Exactly. And I do miss those relationships. I do miss, kind of broing down with the clients and talking shop. But there was a time and place for that in my career, and now we're on to the next part of it.
Yeah. So you had mentioned this earlier, but I didn't want to touch on it until now. Like, what are your thoughts on AI assisted content creation?
Well, I think AI is cool as shit. I think we're living in the future here. But as far as AI writers, I don't think that humans are going to be supplanted by AI writers anytime soon, at least not within the next 5 years. Wordagents certainly leverages AI in the form of Grammarly for proofreading. We use some of these content graders like SERP for SEO and outranking. But we're not touching AI writers yet because, the helpful content update just came out. A lot of people assume that had to do a lot with AI writing. We don't know if Google can detect AI writing or not. So we're cautious for that reason. But ultimately, I see AI writers becoming something that assists human writers to create their writing more efficiently. And I think we have to suss out if Google can detect AI writing or not, because that's going to really determine how that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and in that regard. And I've had a little bit of experience with AI assisted content writing. I interviewed one gentleman. I can't remember his name. Cody Jensen. He was talking about he was able.
He's Cody's Search Bloom, right?
Yeah, Search Bloom. Yeah. Search Bloom. Yeah. He was talking about he's fully embraced it, but right now we're in the beginning stages of whether or not with the helpful content update and knowing what's
just the hoops you have to jump through currently to get a usable product out of AI writing. It's just not worth the effort. And in my opinion, it's you have to create this whole workflow of steps to get a usable product out of it. And then again, if a large portion of it is AI written, is Google devaluing that because it is AI written? You don't really know. I know there's people like Matt Diggity who and others who are doing ongoing case studies to see if AI content will rank on its own. And in certain cases, it is. But again, is that a ticking time bomb? So
exactly.
When it comes to protecting my clients' businesses through their content, we have to be a little bit more cautious than
absolutely. Yeah, I definitely. Absolutely.
Once we get confirmation that it is viable and we can do so in a fair way for our clients, we'll look to integrate. It may just be us offering an AI content back-end offer where maybe we offer a lower price service where we'll generate these articles and polish it up with a human.
Yeah, exactly. You can maybe offer a less expensive product, like a more,
believe it or not, the market size for low end content, and right now I'll say, AI generated content is low end in the same way like content from a content mill or, third world writer might be low end content. But the market for that is gigantic. People buy that stuff, and if you can achieve profit through quantity, there's a good business there.
That's very interesting. What is it that just for B-level content for backlink purposes?
I would even call it C-level content, and
sure.
We currently don't touch that at Wordagents, but we've eyed it, And you look at other services like marketplaces that get away with charging 2 cents a word to the client for content. What are they paying their writers? You got to ask yourself. And through speaking with other business owners that are charging that price point, they don't say much, but they do say that, the market is big and the demand hasn't decreased, so they just keep it rolling as long as people are buying.
Wow. What is the size of the market cap for content marketing?
The size of the market cap?
Yeah. Like for instance, question. I don't even know how big the market is from
I know that Viper Chill, Glenn Alsop, he did a report on his I think it's on his details website that kind of just talked about the value of some of the bigger businesses in the industry. And it was surprising. Like a lot of businesses are generating about 5 to 10 million in revenue, but then you have these outliers that are up around 40, 15 million, 50 million in revenue. So that kind of speaks to market cap. But yeah, I don't know if I have the exact data for that.
Well, that's okay. I put you on the spot with that. So, that's fair enough. I don't expect you to be a walking dictionary or encyclopedia for that.
I kind of view it as unlimited. It's like the market has grown so much that it's actually segmented at this point, and we're just digging deeper into our buyer avatar and becoming more defining it more, and kind of seeing in the past I would say we would straddle between content mills and like enterprise level like NewsCred or Skyward type agencies. But there's actually so many more markets in between those two, and we're finding our fit more and more every day.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's expected to grow by about $500 billion, 487 billion between 2021 and 2026. So
yeah, lots of opportunity.
You're in a very good market, is what I'm trying to say. What do you think is the difference between content marketing and copywriting?
Sure. That's a great question. We actually did a blog post about that, but copywriting is just, the goals are different, right? Copywriting is for persuasiveness, to get the audience to take a specific action, where content writing is, could be in many things. You could be building a knowledge base. You could be building a how-to article. You could be doing a product recommendation. So it's more informing rather than persuading. I would say that's the biggest difference. And skill sets are completely different. A content writer skill set is more research, data oriented, where a copywriter skill set is more touching base with emotion.
Yeah, more sales driven. Would that be fair? I think somebody who writes copy should actually. I think I learned how to write copy from like Mark Joyner and Joe Sugarman and Ted Nicholas and one of my friends, Troy White. And I think a few others, but they always said that if you want to learn how to write copy, you should first learn how to sell, because copywriting is salesmanship in pen, Right. And you're right. It's a totally different skill set. You still have to know how to use words, but it's just using words in a different way.
Yeah. We go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I took a shot at copywriting for our landing pages, and I did okay. I converted well. I was profitable, but we at this point we have copywriters on staff, and they're clearly separate from our production writing team for our clients. And these guys are, that's their career. They copyright, they build these landing pages, sales pages, and I don't try to compete with them. I know that's what they do.
Yeah, it sounds like you found your place in the market and in your company of being the connector and being the visionary, to be able to see what, you saw the market 3 years before it even came about, and being able to put together a team in order to be able to execute all those things. So
visionary is a word. I think it's a bit of a corny title, but if you're following the EOS framework, that's the actual that's the title for the CEO. And that's very much the seat I sit, even though the title is a little funny. Yeah.
Hey, in that regard, like there's different, people call it the funnel or the journey, whatever you call it now. I mean, do you think each and every one of those things we just talked about, the copywriting, the content writing, would you say like at different parts of the customer journey, for instance, higher up at the customer journey at the beginning, if you will, there's more needed for the informational research related content?
That's a good point. At the top of the funnel, that's really where Wordagents sits. We're all about the awareness content, or even investigation or commercial investigation. So we're doing a lot of the how-to informational type articles or reviews, providing a selection of options within a category. And then when you get to the bottom of the funnel, where you actually want to convert on that sales page, that's where your copywriter comes in.
Yeah. And so would you say it's important for businesses and entrepreneurs and business owners to be able to to be able to map that out and know when they need that content and develop all those pieces of content for.
Yeah. When we talk about sophistication of the client, that's something that the small business market could really benefit from. Just the traditional marketing funnel. It's like, you can create your sales page, but if people aren't converting on that, you got to back up a few steps. You have to educate them. You have to bring their awareness to the topic in general, and then illuminate the problem that they're experiencing within the topic, and bring them down that funnel. And I think that'll really, shine a light on business for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge area of growth, as you said. If enough people can find out about it and learn that that's the way to do it, and creating a informational piece of content that's provides a lot of value. For instance, I'm just thinking of a renovation company and like a kitchen renovation tips, or design tips, or whatever the case may be, or hiring tips or guide or whatever, and then slowly moving them down the funnel from there to an offering like a lead magnet for a hiring guide for a contractor, and then leading them into a free consultation, in home or virtual, considering the
very much what we're in the process of doing for our content at wordagents.com. Our blog is our awareness content. We're bringing people's awareness, and we're bringing them to our content upgrades, which are like free downloads to get them into our list. Then our emails, warm them up and nurture them a little bit, and then they become customers at that point. But people don't realize that it takes, from first exposure, it could take 30 to 60 days before they start shelling money out, and you got to nurture them the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. You got to make a friend before you can make a customer. I knew that about selling cars. I had to make a friend, and I had to, if some people I made a friend in 5 minutes, because for some way 6 degrees of separation, I found out they knew my dad. So bang, they were an instant friend. Some people I had to take an hour and a half, 2 hours before I even started talking about the car, or the features of the car. Because if I didn't make a friend, I couldn't sell them anything. And it's like, you just keep talking about, asking them questions about what they're, and those things can be translated to, like you just said, to the online world. You're just using your website as the salesperson, and your email marketing to nurture and build the relationships.
And we do client meetings too over Zoom. We've always done that, but a good portion of our conversions just come from the digital funnel that we've built out. And what it comes down to, like you said, making friends, a lot of people just don't have the patience for that. But it's just so valuable. Even if, that process of creating rapport doesn't lead to a client, in other ways in life, that connection you just made with somebody might pan out in another positive way in your life.
Exactly.
Down the line.
And they may refer people to you, even if you didn't sell them. That's why I always thanked people who bought from a different dealership, the same manufacturer. I still always sent them a thank you card for the opportunity to come in, and because you know what, I guarantee you the salesperson who sold them the car didn't. And they may think of me next time, or refer someone to me, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. But we have little digital touch points like that. Thank yous for every email, follow-ups. And then when people, we call them win-back campaigns. I'm sure you know. Yeah. So we do plenty of win-back campaigns, every once in a while, just to people, remind people of the relationship, or if we happen to mess up in one way or another, give them a reason to come back and show them that, hey, we'll make sure you're a happy guy.
Absolutely. A lot of businesses took a huge hit when the pandemic happened. Did you see that happen in your business, or did the need for content grow even more?
Digital marketing exploded. I mean, I was really fortunate because we were already a remote business, so we already knew that lifestyle. And it really just didn't slow down. It only increased through the pandemic. Now, I will say, with, the upcoming recession, or the recession that we're already in, I'm seeing more fear than I did see in COVID. Whether or not that pans out to a decrease in revenue, we'll see. But again, it's just business as usual.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right on. Yeah. Right on. I was gonna. So my apologies.
No problem.
I think I've asked you every single question that I have. There's one thing. How do you think business owners should adjust their content marketing strategies to reflect the changes brought on by Google's helpful content update?
Helpful content update. I think that was targeted at something else than what the masses believe.
Okay.
There was a Google kind of, the way Google throttles SEOs and keeps SEOs at bay from kind of like completely dominating all the search results is by changing its focus between domain authority and topical relevance every couple of years. They call it different things, but ultimately that's what they're doing. They're for a portion of time, they're ranking sites mainly because of the authority and the size of their site. And now what the helpful content update really did is shifted it back to looking at sites based on their topical relevance. And what happened was, sites like NerdWallet, big publishers who have insane domain ratings, they started leveraging their domain authority to start ranking for things out of their topic ecosystem. So they had a section of affiliate articles where they're recommending coffee makers and strollers, and they're ranking number one for those topics, or they were before the helpful content update, simply because of their domain authority, and they're making an extra revenue stream through affiliate marketing, even though it's completely unrelated to the topic of the website.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Ever since the helpful content update came out, they actually nixed that entire section of their website, and other big publishers doing the same strategy actually deleted those entire sections as well. And really what we're going back to until Google decides otherwise is that websites should be hyper targeted to the main topic of the website.
Okay.
And I think that will be, a driver of ranking success over the next couple of years. If you're really focused on the main topic of your website, and all the articles and awareness blog posts that you generate are really, at least tangentially attached to that main topic, that's the route you want to go. You can't, I don't see these multi-topic websites having a good couple of years until, the focus shifts back to topic domain rating.
Yeah, but it just makes so much sense. Like you just said, NerdWallet was recommending things that don't even make sense. For the topic,
they had it in their footer, like that. The only way you could find these reviews were in their footer. They had I think it said shopping, and if you clicked on the link in shopping, it actually opened up this whole other section of the website, which was kind of like articles competing with like the New York Times, The Wire, like where they do all these reviews.
Oh yeah.
But it's just not topically related to personal finance. So, why should they be benefiting from those rankings?
No, they shouldn't. I don't think they should at all. I mean, it's logical. They may think differently. Yeah.
Right. So the other thing is people were really worried about this AI writer stuff. It's exploded over the past 12 months. So you got to imagine how many new web pages were created with robo content. So I don't know if how many of those sites have tanked. I'm still waiting for reports to come out, and that again will speak to the validity of AI writers in the short term. But that could be another thing that the update was going after.
Interesting. Is there any question that I haven't asked you that I should have asked?
No. Personally, I've really been focused on business building and operational refinements over the past 12 to 18 months. So I can talk a lot about hiring funnels, operational systems, things like that.
Wow.
So anything that piques your interest, I can definitely chew your ear off related to
fantastic
operational type stuff.
Yeah. Well, hey, how about I'll have you back and we'll stay on the topic, and now that our audience has met you, we'll have you back and talk, and I'll generate some questions that we can ask and maybe sample survey our audience, because a lot of agency owners, and
if you want, I would love to bring on my new COO, David. He's taught me things about. He comes from a much bigger agency. I think we were talking about before, like big marketing budgets. I think he had a $50 million budget for his department from the company.
15 or 50?
50 for 1 year. 1 year that he was responsible for managing. So coming from where he was into our business, he brought some more advanced operational frameworks that really impressed me. So it would be cool. I don't know if you ever have two people on at once, but I think if we want to talk operations, that would be a really good conversation.
Cool. Right on. Right on. Yeah, we should do that. Let's talk about that. In the meantime, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Sure. First and foremost, you can reach us at wordagents.com. That's our website. If you want to reach me, my email is vincent@wordagents.com. It may take me a little bit to get back to you, but I'll get back to all emails. And we have social presences on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter with the handle Wordagents.
Cool. And you yourself are on LinkedIn as well, right?
Yes, sir. Vincent D'Eletto, Vin Deletto. You'll be able to find me.
Right on. We'll make sure to put all that information in the show notes. Hey, once again, I want to thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, Matt, this is great. Thank you.
Right on. No problem. Thank you very much.